Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network. For the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews, press 1. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. From the Popcorn Talk Network and producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and Phil Svitek, this is iTalk Movies. Long-form interviews with leading members of the film industry. And now, your host of iTalk Movies.
Hey there, how's it going? I'm Kari Lane here on the Popcorn Talk Network for iTalk Movies. And today with me, I have award-winning actress, director, and producer Tanna Frederick.
I like the producer.
Yeah, producer.
Hey.
Exactly. And Emmy Award-winning actor Harry Hamlin. And we'll be talking about their upcoming interesting film, and we'll go into why it's very interesting, Defrost. So welcome.
Thank you.
Hi.
So great to be here. Loving the music choice. That was Harry's.
Yes, it's a good choice.
Of course, I'm wanting to be on a longboard right now. Just like getting the afternoon surf.
Yes, absolutely. And it's nice weather today, too.
It's
not too hot.
gorgeous.
It's like perfect.
Yeah, everybody else in the world, eat your heart out.
Yeah.
It is so great here.
Southern California. Woohoo. Well, let's dive right into it.
Yeah.
So, Tanna, why don't you tell me about what Defrost exactly is, and Harry, jump in if you have anything to add. Let's start with what it is and how are you involved with the project?
Well, Defrost is a virtual reality narrative that Randall Kleiser approached me about filming, actually just the pilot of it. We have 12 episodes now.
Oh, cool.
And it is something that he had written at USC in 1968.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's very interesting. And then he had done some exploration with VR, and then it came to me and said, what do you think about this? I'd like you to play the lead. And I said, I'd love not only to do that, but to produce it, because I'm very interested in getting into and being a pioneer of VFX and augmented reality and VR, virtual reality, because it's this kind of weird, new, hot thing that's emerging and is a new way to express stories. And so it was very exciting for me. I loved the script. So we ended up filming the pilot, got a great response from it, and then had some beautiful actors in it to tell this story. And Randall's story and narration, his narrative ability, is really exciting and wonderful. And so we filmed 11 more episodes and now have 12 episodes. So each episode runs about 5.5 to 6 minutes long.
Okay.
Harry came in and played the lead, I don't want to call him evil because I think he's...
Oh, no, I've never played an evil character in my life.
Right,
No,
I know.
and evil doesn't exist. Fear exists. But he's
powerful.
Possibly a fearful character. Well, yeah, and Randall, by the way, Randall Kleiser, the director, directed Grease and also Blue Lagoon, and has been
Flight of the Navigator.
I have known Randall for many, many years, and I know that he has been exploring and researching this kind of technology for many years now. And as it's developed, virtual reality technology is, I think, on the brink of changing the paradigm, the entertainment paradigm, particularly when it comes to the visual arts. Not only is it just so different to experience a narrative like a story like we have done in virtual reality, where you see it on the gear, the virtual reality goggles, and you can look around and see everything in your world, in the world of the film. You are immersed totally in the world of the film. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how audiences react to a real story like that. We saw also demonstrations. We were just in Sundance because the film was there as a part of the festival.
That was its debut, correct?
Right.
Congratulations. That's
lucky.
an exciting debut.
It was a great debut.
And actually, I think we do have a photo of you both at Sundance, if we can pull that up. Yep. We'll pull that up in a moment. But yeah.
There were several different kinds of virtual reality projects that were showcased at Sundance, this being one of them, Defrost. But I think there's a way for this technology to evolve over the next few years into a totally immersive experience where the viewer will wear gloves and also have gloves on their feet and be completely interacting with the world, the virtual world that you're in. And I did a demonstration of that while I was there, which was pretty amazing.
Which one did you do?
I did. It's called Real Virtuality. So when you put the backpack on, you put
with the
gloves
backpack,
on,
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Is that interacting with another person?
Yes, we had two people interacting in the environment, and it was just amazing.
Very powerful stuff.
I do have a question with the Sundance screening. Were people all wearing VR goggles to watch the film then?
Yes.
Yeah, there were only this year it was all about New Frontiers, which essentially
you definitely nailed that.
We were, like I said, we were really lucky to be one of the chosen.
Oh, here we go. Now we got your photo at Sundance.
That was on set. That was actually like while we were filming, so I have a little bit of
that one's cute though.
Yeah. So Harry's hair was pretty much the highlight of our entire series.
You got some height there.
I decided to take all the color out of it for this role for this guy. It's just starting to grow back.
I was wondering because your photos, I was like, it looks nice. You got that silver fox going on, but is it dyed it? Okay.
I took it for this role. I wanted to sort of because the story takes place in about 2045.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's a very futuristic story, and I wanted to have a futuristic look.
Actually, we have another photo of you. Let's go to the second one of you. Yeah, that one definitely has that. It's nice because it looks futuristic without being unattainable. You go, oh yes, I could believe that being the future. It looks different enough, but similar enough that you can associate.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was a really great thing about, I think, our entire team and our entire crew and the actors as well. As in VR, it's so new that you kind of need everybody's input to pitch in and to run with this new way of filmmaking. You can't, it's not like something, it's not hands off. It's not, okay, we've all done 30 films. We're just going to sit on the sidelines and watch and wait for our name to be called. Everybody was so there and pitching in. We had Carl Weathers, Veronica Cartwright from Alien. We had Bruce Davison. I mean, an amazing cast of really solid actors from stage, who have won awards.
And it was guerrilla filmmaking too.
Totally.
We have a cast photo too. Let's grab that because I think that helps give a better visual understanding of. So why don't you explain a little bit?
Also
the center figure of how that is the filming, because I think that gives a good visual to what you're talking about right now.
Okay, so this was the original pilot, and what we essentially shot with was 2 hero cams, which are just GoPros with fisheye lenses, so you can see everywhere. We took some with 4 that were just taped together. So it's not as though virtual reality is off limits to anybody, really. It's just you can play around with a lot of different expensive or non-expensive cameras, just FYI for filmmakers out there. But then after this, we were able to get, so the figure sitting in the middle is the mother. It's Joan Garrison, who is my mother in the story, and she's just been de-thawed after 30 years. So
she lost her head in that picture.
They forgot to reattach her.
So that's a problem with cryogenic freezing, isn't it? So you might want to explain why there's no head on that person.
So basically, we used the body as and this was Randall's cognition, just to use that the body could be used as a dolly cam and a steady cam
in the wheelchair,
right? And as a director, the only way that he could get himself on set to watch every take and watch all the actors is to actually be a nurse, place himself into the scene, because you really can see all around you. And so like during the episodes, if you look up and behind you can see Randall's nose, but that's the only way that he could get himself onto the set, was to be one of the actors and push the camera around. And so then for episode 2, after people had seen this first one, we then got another camera that had 8 cameras on it, and 3D. It was 3D, and so that was even more complicated to work on. That's when Harry came on, and we filmed everything 2 episodes a day within a week.
It was very short. It was like I said, it was guerrilla filmmaking, and we all had to pitch in, and it was a new paradigm for us. And being that the camera sees everything, there's no backstage, there's no behind the camera, So as Tanna was saying, the only way Randall could be on the set or see what was going on is he had to push the wheelchair, which then became the dolly for the camera.
Yeah.
Also, so it was, you solved that problem brilliantly.
Yeah.
Because I think that's probably one of the hurdles that most filmmakers are going to find almost impossible to get over. Is how do you create an environment in a movie where the camera sees everything? I mean, how do you light it, for example? Where do you put the microphones, or if there are any cables, where do the cables go? So everything has to be wireless, everything has to be self-contained. It's going to push the limits of what people can do. But I think people are up to the challenge too.
Yeah.
So mic-wise, did you all have lavs then under your shirts and such?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think parlaying off what Harry is saying as well, the reason why this particular project was really fascinating to me was because we really used the camera here and this way of storytelling in VR as an empathy machine.
How so?
Because we were speaking directly into the camera, into Joan's eyes, into the viewer's eyes. So when you watch it, you are forced to interact with the characters in this, which in film, and there's not really any escaping, if you will, the environment. So as a result, every time that we demo it or we show it to people on the VR machine, you really can't take yourself out of the story unless you, of course, rip the goggles off. And because we have such a great actors, great cast, great team, people who have been watching this have gotten so much into the story that they'll answer back or they'll talk, like as I'm talking to my mother and the character can't talk because she's been frozen, so her vocal cords aren't working yet. People will talk back to it of all different ages, all different sexes. It doesn't really matter that she's a woman. It's just been this sort of empathy machine where we've really challenged people. Our moniker is, "Are you Joan?"
Because you are the viewer is actually the character. I mean, you are first person Joan as you watch what's going on around you. That's another thing that's very different about it. It's not like you're sitting back with a fourth wall and watching a narrative film taking place in front of you. You are a character in the movie, which is that's very unique.
Yeah. It's like as if you're in the audience in a theater and the character steps around and just is giving a monologue directly to you, but live. It's very strange. It's difficult to describe, but amazing to experience.
Have you seen Diving Bell and the Butterfly?
Yes.
Yeah, similar. It's making me think of that because you can't move, but he can't. So similar idea. And actually, to that note, I was curious as actors. When you're looking at a person, you're not necessarily looking in both eyes. You can't really do that. You kind of look back and forth. So what was it like looking into a camera lens? Do you feel like you kind of had a little bit of that? Maybe possibly moving when you're looking at it?
That's a good question because I never thought about that. But the camera itself was a round ball that had lenses all over it,
like 8 eyeballs.
And
almost.
and when we were addressing Joan, the main character, who was the viewer's point of view, I never really looked.
I was going to ask you where your eye line was. There were two right off of just middle.
Nobody
that
ever
I
told
looked
me.
right in between these two.
Nobody ever said you got to look into one lens or the other. So I don't know.
But maybe there's no right or wrong way because if you're talking to a person, some people switch eye to eye or they look center. There's actually a play and I think it's, I'm blanking on the name, but it's like Ugly or something, and a woman only looks at his left eye. And he's like, "Why are you just looking at my left eye?" And she's like, "Really? There's a difference?" He's like, "Yes." So it's interesting if you notice or if your eyes move. And then actually going off of that, being actors in a space 24/7, do you feel your background in theater, both of you actually, added to that experience or it helped it, made it easier? Because on theater, you're on.
So absolutely, because the way we shot it, there was no stopping. There's no, you can't cut. Each 5-minute segment is in and of itself a whole piece. There's no cutting. There's no reverse angles. So that meant that we would rehearse for 2 to 3 hours the scene to get it just right, and then we'd start to film it, and we'd film it maybe 10 or 15 times. And each take would be 5 minutes long.
Wow.
So it would take 6 or 7 hours to get one 5-minute chunk, and then we'd break for lunch, and then come back and do the next 5-minute chunk.
And that take was it. I mean, the best take was and there's no editing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't edit. We used some green screen. We were able to play around with Bruce Davison being a hologram in some of the episodes, but that takes an extraordinary amount of cash and know-how. And again, this is so early that we just wanted to tell a good quality story with the available technology that we have now without getting too ahead of ourselves. So we really did accomplish some wonderful things with guerrilla style filmmaking with the new VR tools that we were able to within a short amount of time and within a constrained budget.
So if they're all 5-minute segments and there's no cuts, are the different segments later in time in the timeline, or are they all like a continuous? Well, if it's 12, it'd be like what, like an hour or almost?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It is that timeline. Like it's almost like real time. Like
They're
it
all
plays out.
consecutive.
It's not
yeah.
real time, but it's continuous time.
Okay.
In other words, it's serialized, so
Yeah.
that a day might go by, or
Okay.
or 2
Yeah.
days between segments. But it's not one like
It's not one
24.
line. Okay. Yeah.
Right, and Randall wrote in some great plot twists. He it's fun. It's very Lost meets Breaking Bad, where at the
Okay.
end of each episode you find out. I'll just give one example that my son is an android, or you find out certain little cliffhangers at the end of each episode that make you kind of want to binge watch. So it'll be interesting also to see who binge watches this when it's available on demand, and on we're actually going to have an icon available for it so that you can click and purchase the whole 12 episodes. You can go on defrostvr.com right now and see where our progress is, because it's such a new experience. Nobody is quite sure how to monetize or sell the experience right now. But should you have a headset, you can download also from our site the pilot and
The pilot's ready?
Yes.
Oh, good.
And so you can download that, take a look at it, and then once the rest of our episodes are ready, you'll have looked at the making of. There's several interviews up there. It's really interesting stuff to watch. So.
And is that, but actually I was thinking about it still, going back to the one continuous take, was that part of a narrative choice to make it continuous? Because you could figure out ways to do cuts possibly, or did you want to have it like, this is our experience right now, you're looking at someone, you're talking to someone, and so you thus make it continuous?
Actually, it's very difficult to make cuts and edit with VR, because it's all
because it's
filmed
around and
yeah,
everything.
and and all the editing takes place on a curvature. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's very difficult with all the curves to sew the piece together, and so you want to kind of do one continuous take, or at least that's what we wanted to do to be able to complete
Particularly
the series.
since the viewer is the point of view of a character, of a person. So it's not like you're sitting back watching a story take place in front of you like we do in a movie theater, where we are a passive observer. You're an active participant in this. I have seen VR experiences where we were passive audience members, where they had cuts. It's a little clunky, but I think in the long run they'll figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
That's probably the direction it's going to end up going, just so you can get more information into the scene. Because right now you're stuck with one continuous 5-minute flowing story, and you can't really throw any extra information in as you can when you're making cuts and doing different angles for a narrative. So I think it'll probably go that way. But for this one, I think being a character in the thing makes it really unique.
The technology it's like shooting forward so fast, and of course, now there's so many more cameras available, and there's so many different methods that people are choosing to film with. I mean, us, just shoving the camera onto a dummy with a wheelchair was something that we did, that's completely been used probably 50 times over by now, if not more. But that was our idea,
It's not
6
who did
months.
it first, it's who does it better.
I'd like to say we did a pretty good job at it, and now when we film season 2, that's probably not going to be our method of filming for that, but it was 6 months ago to 8 months ago, whenever we shot it, the best way of shooting that we had at the time, just because it was new. So we just keep rolling with going with the flow and trying to figure out, okay, what resources do we have at our fingertips at this time? And it's just something you just keep going to panels and staying on top of, and there's so much information just blasting in about.
It's going to evolve. It's evolving really fast, this technology. And there's so many wonderful new technological things on the horizon, too, that will blend in with this technology. That 5 years from now, we're going to look back on what we did, and it'll be a little bit like sailing the Mayflower over to, but it's still going to be good. It's still going to be, it'll be remembered as
It was
the
pioneering.
beginning.
Yeah.
What I think we talked about it a little bit, but if you want to talk about what drew you to this project and how did you hear about it in the first place?
I've just wanted to work with. I've known Randall for a long time, and it wasn't a just. I apologize for that. It was the fascination of working in virtual reality and my geekdom combined, and Randall just approaching me and wanting to work on this together, and me being fascinated and being a little scared, I guess, of isolation, and that would come from wearing a pair of goggles and just being by yourself and not wanting. I'm not a big techie. I'm not a big TV watcher. I've never been, like, my parents didn't let me have a TV growing up, and so for me, I thought, how can I challenge myself with this, and how can I embrace what this is and what the inevitable is? And so it was actually a challenge to myself to say, okay, you're gonna face this and you're gonna deal with it, and how can this be a good thing, and how can you be a part of something that and then I found the humanity of the project when I started seeing people talking back and interacting, and I saw elderly people who we put the goggles on, and they're lying in bed in their beds, and they're reacting and living a life on a different level, and saw different kids loving it, who are now only in their cell phones, but they took a second because this is a new gear, and they took a second to actually watch the series because this is something new and cool, but they got immersed in being this character and feeling helpless and having their hands down where they couldn't, and so I thought, oh, okay, and there's really, so it was just me challenging myself to see how I could find it not isolating and terrifying.
Sure.
And I did, and it's beautiful now, and I see how it can be embraced as my background being theater, see how it can be embraced as telling some amazing, powerful stories. I mean, it's being used in the school systems right now in beautiful ways to tell show bullying, to show in colleges, rape, changing rape on campus by showing the two viewpoints. So there's a lot of educational and useful ways that this is being utilized.
That's really interesting. It totally makes sense too. It's a great way to put you in literally be in the other person's shoes.
Right, and it's not just, and it's something that is. I mean, we don't even know how the new generation is going to be. I feel like their brains are going to be molded by the texting and by knowing all of this stuff. We don't know how their brains are going. The future is going to be. Sure. But to at least be a part of it, and to at least jump in, like, I have no idea how to Twitter very, very well, but I can at least make some steps toward making some great art for the future.
Oh. And then Harry, you want to talk about how
what made you
how'd you come to the project? And
well, how did it come? Did you send me the thing, or did Randall?
No, I think Randall showed
I
it
think,
to you.
Called me up and asked me about it, and my representatives didn't want me to touch it or go near it. Well, because it was guerrilla filmmaking to begin with. They like big ticket items, where they can harvest a lot of commission, and there wasn't really anything except lunch money here. So, but I loved the fact that it was this brand new cutting edge technology, and that we were going to be pioneers. And I said to my agents, I said, listen, I don't care it's only 10 days of my life, and yet I want to see this. I want to see how to do it. I want to see what it means, what it's going to mean to the future, what it will mean for entertainment down the line. Because I see with technology evolving as quickly as it is, that the technology is going to interface with how we watch movies, with how we tell stories, with how we accept information and news stories. And I said, this has to be part of that new program. It's going to definitely interface with how people entertain themselves in the future, either just like this, or it'll morph and evolve into something more like the total immersion experience that I had when we were in Sundance. But it's definitely going to be part of it. I mean, you can't deny that this is the wave of the future.
And then you, Harry, you have a science background, so do you feel that, you want to talk a little bit about that and how you feel that maybe connects to your involvement with this film?
I just like, I like contemplating what needs to be done to fix things in the world. And I spent a lot of time in the last 15 or 20 years trying to come up with solutions and help with solutions to some of the larger hurdles that are facing humanity now as we evolve into the 21st century. So this, is an entertainment issue as opposed to a hunger issue or global warming issue or any of the larger issues that I spend a lot of time contemplating. But still, it represents brand new cutting edge technology that's going to push us into the next wave of the future, whatever that might be. So I was intrigued for that reason. Also, how beautiful is Tanna? I mean, to be a co-star with her, I mean, come on. I mean,
It'd be hard to say no.
It would be hard to say no, right?
She's adorable.
So,
how can I not work with this, right? No, come on. I mean, Harry's everybody's dream boat. So all my friends were like texting me from the Midwest, "Oh my God, you're working with Harry."
please.
Did you have many scenes together?
Actually, we were kind of each other's the antagonists to one another's characters in a way.
I was her nemesis.
Yes,
Mwahaha.
but not evil, not evil. But yes,
No
so we had
villain
a
thinks
lot
they're
of,
evil.
No, that's right. A hustler believes his hustle, his own hustle.
It's like I said, I've never played an evil
Evil
character,
character.
and yet
You're
I'm
like-
playing evil people all
You're
the
doing
time.
this right now.
None of them is evil. They have great hearts. All those choppers and slicers and dicers, all really sweet on the inside.
It's just
You
their
have to-
They're
childhood.
misunderstood.
Well, they totally misunderstood. You have to
Mommy
imagine
issues.
every serial killer at some point when they were 7, they had a teddy bear, right?
Right.
So I go back to that whenever I play serial killers.
They just stabbed the teddy bear at some point, or someone took it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a fascinating idea. It's I think it really can be used for, even though, running a nonprofit, I think for some of our water trips, going all over the world with kids 15 and 16 years old, teaching them to use with a VR camera a lot, and instead of just doing rock concerts, which are popular now, and a lot of these next to sports events, and because these are all popping up and very
Well, a
popular
live sporting
now.
event is a perfect thing for this kind of thing.
This
You
kind.
put this camera down in the middle of the center court on a basketball game, and you're sitting courtside.
You're Jack Nicholson.
And you're
seats
Jack
at
Nicholson, and
Lakers.
you're watching the whole thing, and you can even look over and see the pretty girl, or if you're a pretty boy if you're a girl,
Right.
because you can look around and see the audience
Yeah.
all around. You are basically, they should be able to sell this as a center court seat.
Absolutely.
And you'll
Sure.
pay a lot of money to see a center court, right?
Yeah.
To sit center court at a now
my
I guess
God.
a Clippers game.
And it's definitely quickly developing. I've seen at least 2 people on like my Facebook feed who have those cameras, and they've gone either to an event or like they were at Times Square and they put it up, and you could look around and be there. It's almost like
You're
a destination.
talking about the little 360 camera.
Yeah.
Who makes that? Is it Casio? No. There's a little.
Is it
It's just becoming much more
There's a little one
easily
you can
available.
buy. It's
Yeah.
about that big,
Yeah.
right? And
And
you
it's-
hold it up, and it's 360. And I saw it when we were in Sundance. Randall had one.
Yes,
You
and we
had
did
one.
some. We had one,
Yeah.
and we've done some demos with that. The only thing is you get really car sick. Like I get very car sick.
It's a little-
but it's still it's a point that everybody can use one, and everybody
Yes.
can utilize
Yeah.
this technology is what I'm saying. And now
But that's a 360 camera. It's not a VR camera, right? Because it's not 3D.
Right, it's not
No,
3D.
it's not 3D. It just
So
has
it's-
the, like, you could look down, look up,
Right,
and, like,
so
just move your mouse so you could look around. Do you actually,
But it's-
touching on motion sickness, did either of you sit and watch the whole experience with the goggles, and did you feel any sort of motion sickness, or did you
No
stay
one
generally
has
like this in
yet.
watching? Or
No one has
Okay,
yet with
that's
ours
good.
because Randall was really careful because he had worked with VR before,
Mm-hmm.
and he had been hired by the government to use for the troops to use. I'm not quite sure. It's like top secret something.
Well, it sounds interesting anyways, huh?
But we also, the camera, the Nokia camera, it came with its own crew.
Okay.
And the crew, they operated, there were 3 or 4 people, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they operated the computer banks
Okay.
that then took the information from all the lenses and sewed it together. And they would come up to us from time to time and say, as you're walking around the camera, just stay another foot back, because if you're too close to the camera, the viewer is going to get vertigo. Or
Yeah,
get,
yeah.
Oh,
get
interesting.
seasick. So they would tell us that, you stay at least 3 feet back from the camera when
That
you're
must have
making
been
a twist.
helpful.
Well, they knew what
Yeah.
they were doing.
Yeah,
We
they-
did not. I did not. I had no
Well,
clue.
it must have been helpful to have been told that, because
Yeah.
you wouldn't know.
No way.
You wouldn't,
to know.
and then you go, oh, yes, of course.
Right. I mean, because there's so many cameras out there, and so we were, we were literally getting our marks from from the camera,
Yeah.
from our crew, which was really cool. Again, it's like nobody sitting on the sidelines. Everybody is a family when you do this kind of filming and jumps in to be like, hey, listen, I need to try this. I'm not getting away the director, but I want you to look a little bit like down here and just 6 inches back. We'll make it. So I like that level of participation also, because it is essentially what we all come from, before we get good jobs, is helping everybody else out.
It sounds like a wonderful set of cohesive, friendly, and constructive, that you can assist each other. It wasn't necessarily like, this is how it is.
I think we had a lot of fun.
Of course. I mean, this was a collaborative thing. This was not. Randall was the director, was as much learning as we went, as we all were. So it wasn't as though there was an expert on the set who was telling everybody this is how it has to be done.
Yeah.
We were all learning as we went. So it was actually a cool collaborative moment.
Was that refreshing based on, like, other projects you've worked on?
Oh yeah,
Totally.
I tell you, there are so many experts in this business, and you go on sets and people, they say, "Oh, I know what I'm doing," and you don't, and then you get, and that can create a lot of friction on the set. And I've worked on some sets that were no fun at all to work on, because there were a bunch of experts around. Usually there's only one. And that's the problem. It comes from the top down.
But that is a really fun thing that I've noticed about, or exciting thing that I've noticed about VR, is that everybody's just looking to create the wheel and invent the wheel together.
Okay.
Because it's not invented, because nobody knows what the heck is going on, really. And so they're all like, everybody's trying to piecemeal this new stuff together and be like, okay, so how'd you do that? What'd you do? And there's no big voices, so to speak, and nobody who's really like wearing the pants, yet. I mean, everybody has an equal voice, and you don't feel any sort of narcissism when you go into the conferences or asking questions. People are just like, here, take this camera, take this. I mean, we literally have gotten so many helpful people who are just saying, try this out. Will you tell us what the glitches are? It's an $80,000 camera. Use it.
Oh, wow.
And which is really great, and you wouldn't find that definitely on TV, where things have already been laid down and put in place, or in films where people have said, no, this is the way it should be. This is my pure form of entertainment, not yours.
Makes me think, like, when GoPros first started coming out, there was, like, everybody using it in different ways, and then there was, like, it's information sharing. So now VR is the new one of, here, like, I've learned something. And it sounds great that it is a information sharing environment, and it's learning from each other rather than stealing or telling someone how to do it. It's more like, ooh, that's cool, that sounds great. Like,
We were coming up with the way to do it as we did it. Very unlike Mad Men, which I did for a couple seasons, where they had everything mapped out down to the slightest detail. and you had to hit it exactly as they had conceived it in the back room somewhere, whoever they were. I'm not going to name names, but I mean, it worked in the case of Mad Men, and it was such a well conceived and well overseen show that's probably one of the things that made it work. There was nothing improvisational about that show at all.
Right.
Whereas this show was extremely improvisational. I mean, if in the moment I looked at Tanna and I thought, oh my God, and a thought came to me, I expressed it, and it wasn't like I had to stick just with the words on the script. So.
How did the writer feel about the improving?
The writer was Randall.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. So
he was right there the whole time. He never said anything to me about it. Did he ever say...
He screamed at me.
Did he?
Randall screamed at... No, he never did. No, he was really open to whatever changes. I mean, unless it was a major plot point, but I don't think we changed any major plot points. We just kind of said, wait, we should work this around here and this around here, 'cause I think it would be easier, and what about this? And so there were no conflicts. It was just all of us.
Whereas you couldn't even change a semicolon on Mad Men.
I can't imagine.
You
were in 2 seasons of
you couldn't.
Of that, yeah.
You couldn't. There was one scene where I was dressing down Draper, John Hamm, and I think the line was, whenever we heard your firm was involved, we always wondered what you were up to. Whenever we heard your firm was involved, we always wondered what you were up to. And I said, whenever we heard that your firm was involved, we always wondered what you were up to. And they had to stop it every time.
Oh, God.
Did you hear what I said differently?
Yeah, the first one had a pause.
I put a that in. That.
That's
just a little
nightmare.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like that.
Well, it is one of those for different whatever medium or project. If someone has this is what it is, but then that's what it is. So
I mean, that's the genius of Mad Men. I mean, like you said, they had
a good long run, so they did something.
The wheel
that
was
worked.
Well, everything was so specific, and they couldn't find shirts that fit me perfectly, and the cuffs were either too short or too long, or the collar was too thin or too fat, and so they had to make a few shirts for me. But they couldn't make the shirts until they found a bolt of cotton fabric that had been manufactured in 1968.
No kidding.
Seriously. They found this bolt of white fabric, and then they could make the shirts. But they weren't about to make a shirt if it wasn't from fabric that was actually manufactured in 68.
That's impressive.
I'm not surprised.
That's amazing.
I believe it. I did background on it a few times, and even just for background actors, they went down to painting your fingernails for the ladies. And I'm like, okay, we're part of the atmosphere, but still, like, they would do that much detail to even the environment.
Wow, that's
now
really cool.
Gonna go back to Defrost. You mentioned season 2. You want to talk a little bit about where is the project's current status? You said people can watch it, but what about season 2?
Season 2 is being developed right now, and so
good.
Yeah, and
congratulations on having a season 2.
I know, thank you. We are. It hasn't been filmed, of course, and we are looking forward to figuring out like what new toys we have to play with, what new.
So there's a season 2. This is news to me.
No, remember, you're in it. You're the lead again. The non-antagonist.
I'm the lead again? Really?
Well, by the time
he doesn't know he's attached yet.
So I have to renegotiate my contract. Oh my God.
I'm the producer, so I guess I have
to renegotiate it.
Work with your agents.
It's going to be $4 instead of $2. I'm doubling my salary.
$3.50.
She drives a hard bargain.
$4 is way too much, Harry.
Or just ante up those lunch, be like filet mignon in my lunch.
Well, it would be fun.
Sandwiches.
This is news to me. I'm glad that we have a season 2.
Yeah, we do have a season 2.
And this is coming from. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah. Do you have a current? You said development. Do you have a shoot date yet, or when you're thinking of getting there, or still in the works?
It's still in the works.
Okay, cool.
Like I said, there's a lot of plates to be spun. Dealing with virtual reality and getting everything in the right place and figuring out how to get an app for everybody to be able to and to monetize and to get all the streaming through for an iOS phone, for a Samsung phone, and making sure that it's just all very new material for everybody to be dealing with. So we're just trying to make everything happen at once, and we're doing the best that we can. But it's a really fun process. I mean, it's like playing with an operation.
Well, you have to
you're
lay
kind of
that
like,
groundwork.
that's not right. That's not. Yeah,
no, that makes sense.
We have to figure out the groundwork.
Have all your ducks in a row,
Yeah.
or, before, because you don't want to start and then be like, oh wait, we didn't get that ready, what do you think of the idea that actually probably by the time you're filming, you'll have a completely different technology than what you started with?
And that's what I'm saying. We're totally stoked that we get to pick out, we want that to film with this time, and that we were able to go to Sundance and try out. We're actually going to Cannes as well. We got accepted to Cannes.
Congratulations!
I don't know if you heard that.
No, I didn't.
Yes. Okay. So
do we get to
congratulations. Go? Yes, we do.
When is Cannes?
May 12th.
I was gonna say it's spring, right?
Yeah. So you're gonna be eating a baguette with me. Hopefully.
Oh, good. No,
Knock on wood.
May 12th.
You'll be able to go.
Out.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's again a lot of the film festivals don't have the VR programs very organized because it's so new.
It's new.
It's so hot, and it's just like the finding out that we're in these big festivals, we hear like wonderful. Last minute, and then so
when did you find out about Cannes? I'm just curious.
It's like 2 weeks ago, but. So I'll let you.
She lost my number. She lost my
phone. I was just going to say, I didn't mean to throw you under the bus there. Now, for festivals like Cannes, you mentioned Sundance. How many screening devices were there for Sundance, and do you know how many there will be for Cannes?
I don't know how many for Cannes, but it was very complicated because there were 30 projects. You even had Redford saying in the Park City paper that this whole entire... This year of Sundance was all about the new frontier, and there were waits on even for us the filmmakers. We had to wait 24 hours. I mean, there were waiting lists that you put your name down, and then they'd ring you the next day at like 4:35 and be like, okay, it's your turn now.
The line around the block.
Well, that must have felt wonderful.
It was wonderful. It felt great. And it was also
satisfying.
Kind of like, whoa, look at how fast this is moving. Like when you have a pass to see everything first, you can't see it for like 24 to 48 hours. And that's with 12 headsets, I believe, that they had. So, and that's 30 projects, 12 headsets, and you had everybody manning all the headsets all the time. So it's really in demand, and it was very exciting to see. There were two places, one with 2 floors, and another venue with that was huge, and blocks of people lined up around the blocks the whole entire time, which it's like, yay, go this, go our project, so
people are excited about this new technology for sure. I mean, and there's a reason for it. It's exciting.
Did you hear any interesting feedback from people who watched it that saw you and knew you were involved? You mentioned you had seen people watch it, but I was just wondering if anybody, if you were able to discuss with any viewers afterwards much.
It was really exciting to be, I think, considered one of the top projects there because, like I said, of the quality and having just chose this project to complete with Randall, again, because of the material, because of the cast, because of the crew, and the quality, quality versus quantity. At this point, you have a lot of people who are going out for like the pop and the sizzle of VR, and that's okay. Like
that's true.
That's really great. The best advice I heard from a VR filmmaker who works at a very high level is he said he never rests, that he always, and he's probably 27 years old because that's where all the experts are, but he said he and his coworkers go out every second that they have, even if they're filming like a $12 million Jack Black 5-second promo for something, for Goosebumps or something, they go out and they make as many mistakes as they can with one of the cheap like GoPro fisheye lenses, and they'll just keep making mistakes because we're at a point where we can, and because we're so early on in the game. So why not do it now?
Yeah.
Why not do it when you're under the radar? And right now we're all kind of flying under the radar. So So it's okay to make mistakes right now. So so that's really exciting. And so I think there's a lot of people throwing stuff out there. There's a lot of people trying cool stuff, but I do appreciate the quality pieces that are exploring human empathy and exploring human emotion and toying with the different ranges of human emotion that can be pulled out from immersive media.
I got two things on that, actually. I was gonna say, one, was it hard to, I mean, sometimes when you're acting, somebody's not there. Was it hard to get emotional with this camera fishbowl lens eyes? And then were there any happy accidents? Because how you were talking about how people, now is the time to make mistakes. Many filmmakers I found, sometimes some of the best stuff you get is because of an accident or a mistake. So were there any happy accidents on set? And then how was it being emotional to a ball of camera lenses for both of you?
Well, I think the whole thing was a happy accident.
Okay,
Really.
There you go. That's a good answer. Sure.
Actually, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think we'll look back on it that way too. Hopefully it'll be happy. But I think it is. I think it was, and you can address the other side of that question.
Well, Harry hasn't actually seen a lot of the.
I've not seen any of it.
He's not seen any of it. You haven't seen any of it. So, for example, one day Bruce was working, and he was working on Project Greenlight, and so he couldn't be there. So Harry and I were talking to Bruce's his, what do you call it?
Well, we were talking to air.
We were talking to non-existent Bruce.
He wasn't there. So we had to imagine where he was. And then I did actually see the snippet of that in Sundance without any sound.
Yes, you did. That's
where,
right.
Where I saw him...
His hologram.
His hologram kind of just floating there in the air, so where they'd put him in. And that worked, actually, yeah. But I didn't see it in the full 3D experience. I didn't see that. I just saw a little sort of 2D...
So that was a happy accident because it's really actually quite funny, and we started mining the humor out of the project. That's right, because
he wasn't there.
Because he wasn't there, and so there's a scene of Harry and Bruce arguing, which actually turns into this. It's this very funny moment. So we're pulling out like the humor and the drama of the whole situation. Yeah. And it's now like turned into a great moment between Harry and non-existent Bruce. And his hologram in post because of him not being there and because of being on a budget and us not being able to like overpay, like be like, no, you get out back out here, you're on our contract. So there's a lot of those that I think that once we finish all of the episodes up and stitch all of them up and get everything perfected with the special effects and everything, that we're gonna see and be like, remember how we made that happen? That's hilarious. Now that looks fantastic, and we're gonna find a lot of those moments. I've seen some of them just flat on the camera, but I think I'll be able to see it even more once we've layered in the 3D and stitched every episode and looked closely through the viewer.
And then we're pretty much actually towards the end of our time. What are you currently working on, and where can people find more about you if you want to share that as well?
Harry.
Well, I have a movie in Tribeca Film Festival. It's
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's coming up soon, I think April 20th. 17th, no, April 17th, Sunday night in Tribeca. It's called Rebirth, and it's a cool indie, and I haven't seen it yet, so I'm imagining it's a cool indie. Okay, it was when we filmed it. Anyway, and I also I've been working on a project with Nick Nolte called Graves in New Mexico. We just finished that season, so if there's another season, I'll be doing that.
That's cool.
Nice.
So yeah, I actually have about 4 or 5 other projects that are in the can right now, but it's kind of too early to talk about them, so I'm going to leave it up to you to finish this off.
Okay. Well, you can go on Defrost VR to see our project, and and I just wanted to. I think my Twitter feed is at Harry R. Hamlin,
Okay.
Does that sound like the right way to say a Twitter feed?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds right.
Generally, when I say
You
mine,
see-
I can say you can find me online at, and then you can say,
So
You
yeah,
got it,
you
you
can
got
see
it.
that I'm a little bit of a Luddite when it comes to Twitter, but
It's a new way of promoting your projects, though, because that's how you get information out there.
right. Well, I mean, I think I probably use Instagram a little bit more than Twitter. I
You
just
can
sort of-
share your Instagram if you want to. Or not.
I have to ask my wife what
Yeah,
it
there
is.
you go. And then you are actually in a play
And
right
I'm
now.
in a play right now, Jack and Jill, which is written by Jane Martin, but actually the pen name of John Jory. So it's a 2-person show. It's at the Santa Monica Playhouse, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and that's on 4th Street and Wilshire. Parking is terrible, so go early and before 8:00. And it's a great show. We've done really good, and it's nice to be back on stage. And and then I have Ovation, which we're releasing into theaters with James Denton and myself and a huge wonderful cast of other actors, and that also that conceit was just filming all the entire time behind the scenes of Rainmaker, which I ran out here for a year. And so it's everything that goes on, good and bad, behind the scenes of a play, which usually is more dramatic than what goes on on stage.
Sure.
As any actor knows, it's always the backstage
And that's
stuff
Henry's?
that gets you. Yeah.
That's Henry.
Yeah, and that's Henry Jaglom film. Yeah, so that's coming out too. So that's called Ovation.
And then anywhere else people can find more information on you or your Twitter?
TannaFrederick.com.
Cool.
I think it's that. I
I have one too. I've got
Just
Harry
Google your
Hamlin.
names and
I've
we'll
got
leave it at that.
HarryHamlin.com, but I haven't looked at it in 3 years, so I don't know.
Well, I have Tanna fan something. We're doing competitions here.
I don't know. I'm an early adopter of a lot of technologies. Tesla, for example. But when it comes to social media, I'm just not. I don't have the time for it. Just like.
Should use Hootsuite. You can schedule your posts.
Hootsuite.
Yes.
We need to take a class together.
We gotta do something.
We gotta
Somebody-
do like Santa Monica College. Here we come.
That's true. That's true.
Figure
thank
out
you.
social media.
So much for coming in and talking about Defrost. It sounds really exciting, and people hopefully will check it out soon, be able to watch it soon, and
Yes.
shouldn't watch the pilot right now. You can find, my name's Kari. You can find me online at Kari D. Lane on Twitter and Instagram, and Facebook at Kari Lane Actor. Again, I have had Tanna Frederick and Harry Hamlin with me today, talking about Defrost. So go look that up, the cool world of virtual reality and the pioneers of it. So again, thank you for watching iTalk Movies on the Popcorn Talk Network. Make sure to follow us, subscribe. We have movie stuff all over the place, and then also AfterBuzz for all your TV show needs. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.